And now it is our very great pleasure to review something entirely new. Just last year, debut album from Icon of Sin. Now, you might recognize the lead vocalist here from YouTube, Rafael Mendez, if Bruce Dickinson sang for X.
Come home in the morning light, my mother says, when you're gonna live your life right. I'm on a day when you're the 14 it runs and girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have fun.
This guy sounds startlingly like Bruce Dickinson. He was also featured prominently on the fourth Avalon album this year, which we've already reviewed. And apparently, the producer on this project, one Sergio Mazul, who's not actually a musician on the album, but I guess wrote all the songs, seems that he heard Mendez sing on YouTube and called him up and said, "Hey, you want to be on my album?" So here it is, from Brazil, Icon of Sin.
This has a really cool jacket cover, but sadly we can't really show you because it didn't come out on vinyl.
Come on, guys. What's wrong with you? Give us vinyl. Frontiers Records release, by the way. Seems a lot of things we've reviewed lately have been Frontiers Records releases. And for the love of God, put it out on vinyl! That being said, it's pretty cool CD packaging. Jewel case, they got the jacket art on the CD. You know, I'm old enough that I can remember when that wasn't normal. I remember the first time you actually had art on CDs and thinking, wow, that's really cool. Yes, I'm old enough to remember back when a CD was just silver. Don't judge me. Picture of the band itself, lyrics, credits, blah, blah, blah. It's an album sleeve.
This album has really nerdy lyrics. Video games. There's an actual song called Arcade Generation.
We are the arcade generation, ready to strike. We are the arcade.
There's a song about ninjas.
Video games and movies. Then again, one of my favorite bands is Blind Guardian, so I don't get to talk about geekiness, do I?
No, you don't.
Musically, it kind of sounds like the 80s. In fact, it sounds a lot like the 80s. I swear 2/3 of these songs at least could easily fit on a classic Priest or Saxon record. Not so much Maiden. Despite Mendez sounding pretty much exactly like Bruce Dickinson, I don't get a Maiden vibe out of a whole lot of these songs.
That would be except for Virtual Empire, which manages to sound like both power metal and Iron Maiden the most.
Mind control, program and routine. Day after day we live like us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and to be fair, bands like Maiden definitely were an influence on power metal, but Virtual Empire is arguably the most modern sounding song here, but it has a riff and a vocal melody that could totally have been on an Iron Maiden platter. Some of these other songs, I don't know that it's so much direct influence as it is just coincidence, but I feel like a number of these other songs could have gone on a Bruce Dickinson solo album from the late 90s. Particularly the lead single, Shadow Dancer.
A lot of these songs do seem to be cut from the same cloth, Icon of Sin, Arcade Generation, Unholy Battleground.
Fast-paced, 4/4 time, verse, chorus, verse, solid but great tunes. The singles were really well chosen. You had Shadow Dancer, which is one of the best tracks in the album. Icon of Sin, Nightbreed. Those are all singles and videos. You can check out on YouTube. They do pretty cool videos, too. You should check them out.
Yeah.
All of those songs are fairly similar. It's toward the back half of the album that they really start to diverge a little bit from that. Take, for example, Clouds Over Gotham, which has elements of fast-paced 80s metal in it, but also some interesting breakdowns, including a breakdown sort of chorus, and manages to be both kick-ass and progressive at the same time. I think we can safely ignore that it's literally about Gotham City and Batman.
Yeah.
And if I had to pick a favorite song, it'd be that one, Clouds Over Gotham. Very cool track. That said, it's not quite all killer no filler, although the bulk of this album is really solid. But you have things like Pandemic Euphoria and Arcade Generation that come off a little bit just plain generic, particularly Pandemic Euphoria, which I'd have to say is my least favorite song on the album.
Honestly, I have to agree with him on that one. My favorite is definitely Shadow Dancer, one of the singles. Check out the video for that one. The video is really cool.
Shadow Dancer is honestly one of the coolest singles that's dropped this year from anybody. In the final analysis, totally worth getting. This is one of the coolest debut albums I've seen in a long time. Even the lesser tracks, I don't hate them. I don't go for the skip button when I put them on, or when they come on. They're just not as good as the rest of the package. It's a bit derivative in places. I feel like these guys haven't entirely realized their own style yet, but neither had Wasp on their first album, and that's one of my favorite debut albums ever, so I can't really complain about that too much. It's a great record. Go get it.
And maybe get a t-shirt with this jacket art on it. Dad, can I have one?
I think we should both get one, actually. Absolutely. All right. That's all for now. And this is actually our last review of albums that were released in 2021. We've finally caught up, and we'll be doing nothing but reviewing more current albums going forward. And now that we've got all caught up, and we're not going to be doing as many new album reviews all packed together, we will also be doing some other types of content. We'll be looking at older albums. We'll be trying to highlight some that aren't well known but should be. We'll also be looking at some bona fide classics and deciding if they deserve that status or not. Buy this album, and until we meet again,
Crank it up a little louder.